Welcome to the Disability Income Protection Panel, hosted by Mutual of Omaha and the new Mutual Income Solutions Disability Product Portfolio to meet the needs of your clients. My name is Michael Prothy, Sales Director with Mutual of Omaha for Disability Income Protection, and I'm pleased to introduce our participants today, industry leaders in the marketplace and experts in the field of disability insurance protection. Eugene Cohen of the Cohen Agency, Corey Anderson, the Disability Geek, and Jeff Peterson of Truluma. With that, just wanted to share with you, our focus today is going to be sharing insight and expertise around why should disability income be a part of every financial advisor's needs analysis, how to include it in every financial planning conversation, finding sales success in 2021 and beyond, positioning yourself as an income protection expert, and how Mutual of Omaha is positioned to be a partner in the DI space today. With that in mind, Eugene, I'm going to start with you. Eugene, please just give us a summary on how you conduct training and introduce disability income into their recommendation programs.
Yes, thank you, Michael. There are three categories of advisors, and that's how I look at it. We design the program to their specifications. The first group is the individual who's not familiar with disability income protection. The normal conversation is very simple. Do you sell disability income protection? Do you present it to your clients? No, I have nothing to do with it. I don't even bother with that. That group we have to really work on and motivate them to see the importance. The second group is, yeah, I do once in a while. Last year I sold 2 policies. The client called me and said they needed disability coverage. They don't go and seek anybody out. And there's quite a few of those. The third group is the specialist who puts it in every particular plan, and they're very scarce. We don't come across too many of those. So the first group, the one who isn't familiar, we work very hard on. We get this individual to understand the importance of disability income protection. We tell them your job, basically you are working with the individual trying to get enough dollars for retirement, but we're also in the business of protecting assets. We have to protect those assets. We don't know if the individual is going to retire at age 65 or 70. That individual may retire at age 45 or 50 because of a disability. So you have to look at that. You have to understand that future income is that individual's most valuable asset. So let's take a look at it. What are we going to do? Let's suppose you get a phone call. It's one of your clients calling. And he says, you know, I have to tell you something. Remember that plan you worked out that I was going to retire at 65 or 70? It's not going to work. I have a serious disability. I'm going to be out of work. I have a major problem. I'm disabled. Well, there's 3 things you could say. You could say, well, look, you know, we never talked about it. We never really had a chance. We talked about everything else, but we forgot about that because, quite frankly, that's one of the best kept secrets. The second thing you could have said is, well, we went over it. We went over it very thoroughly, and you signed a paper saying you weren't interested. Or the third thing you could say, yes, you did apply. We did buy a policy, and we'll submit a claim to see if it's a qualifying claim. That's the better answer. So as I can tell you, once we get this individual motivated, then we're going to let this individual learn about disability coverage. We're going to go over the features and the illustration. And so this individual is comfortable with the uncomfortable and they understand the importance of it. And we spend an awful lot of time. It takes us about an hour and a half, 2 sessions, 45 minutes each, to really get this person going. The second group's a little bit different. We don't really have to work as hard. They have the basic knowledge, but we tell them what to ask and not to wait for people to call them, but to be proactive and call the people. That's what's important. Don't sell 2 apps a year, sell 10 or 15. Look at it. Look at the advantages of how you're helping the client. And the third individual, they're a specialist. They know it. So they want to know what's it going to cost, what's the illustration, and so forth. They got a lot of different things they want to talk about. We don't have to spend as much time with them, but we spend an awful lot of time teaching, and I've been teaching disability income protection for, I'm not going to tell you how many years, an awful long time. And that's how we do it, Michael.
Very good. Thank you, Eugene. So I'm just going to do a round robin here and start with an initial question for each of you. Jeff, 2020 was what it was. In 2021, what will look like for DI sales?
That's a great question, Michael. We're real excited about what's going on. Industry-wide, there are a number of exciting things going on with the carriers. COVID, I think, forced carriers to make some much-needed changes. We're seeing the acceptance of DocuSign from almost all DI carriers now. EAP has become showing up on everybody's radar. Increase to non-med limits, increased use of big data. So all these types of things occurred as a result of what we've gone through in the last 7, 8, 9 months. 2021, we anticipate new carriers entering the market, which is exciting. We haven't seen that in a while. We know new products are being rolled out and will be launched in 2021. Late 2020, we had Mutual of Omaha's launch of the Income Solutions product, which, by the way, we are finding to be incredibly competitive and a very comprehensive product, regardless of the client that you're working with. So it performs very well with the blue collar as well as the white collar market. So we're real excited about what we're going to be able to do there. But you start to kind of roll all this together and combine it with an increased consumer awareness. And I think there's some huge opportunities in the DI market in 2021.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff. Corey, as a producer, how did you see your sales process change or improve during 2020? And what will you see as a greater success in 2021?
Well, first off, thanks to Mutual of Omaha for having us, and having this new product out has been absolutely phenomenal. It's been good for our practice already. Sales, we had new client sales of 40% increase in 2020 over 2019. We hope we'll continue to have the same success in 2021 of new client sales, where there's so much opportunity out there. It's just a matter of getting advisors to ask the question. And with the advancement of all the e-apps and everything, now Mutual of Omaha, you can do your illustration all the way to your application to your actual policy, all electronic. So it's fantastic seeing that. But with the sales process, it's something where I already did it all via phone. I maybe meet 1 or 2 clients a year at most. In 2019, I didn't meet any of my clients face-to-face. 2020, I met maybe 1 client face-to-face. And 2021, I'll be surprised if I meet more than 1 or 2 clients face-to-face. It's all via phone. I don't do Zoom or any of that stuff. I actually do old school email and phone, and then just have them pop open a link when I send it to them. And so I see the process is you have an opportunity, I think, for advisors that weren't in the e-space to significantly increase sales, because now people aren't expecting to meet with you face-to-face. You should be able to have 20, 30, 40% growth in your number of appointments you do a day, just because your appointments aren't as long and they're not face-to-face, where you don't drive anywhere. You literally drive from your master bedroom down to your kitchen, grab a bite to eat, and drive down to your living room or wherever, your office. You put on your sweatsuit and you go to work every day. I mean, who dresses up anymore? So I think 2021 is going to be phenomenal for the industry. Everybody got a test run of what disability looks like from the standpoint of with COVID, and watching people out of work for a couple of weeks to a few months. I don't want to minimize COVID, but I think it was a great opportunity for our industry to remind people about how important income protection is and how their financial plan depends on them getting up, suiting up, and showing up for work every day. And if you become sick or hurt, your group disability or whatever maybe isn't an option. You need individual as well.
Yep. Very good, and I love the fact that Corey references then that email and phone would become old school. Yes, but that just shows where we're at. So Eugene, I'm going to circle back to you. It was a great segue that Corey led us into about delivering that message to more and more producers. But clearly, with producers being out there, why is it that you find that some clients, some prospects don't choose to go ahead and protect their income?
Well, I believe that there are, and I'm jumping to this question, there are four basic objections in whatever you're selling. It's no need, no hurry, no confidence, no money. And I look at these objections to try to eliminate them as quick as I can. The most important is need. This is a need product. This isn't a product that we think we may want. This is a need product, and we have to act on it. We have to think about it. So I emphasize the need. I spend an awful lot of time training advisors how to bring out the need. The need for the product is extremely important. When I started the business, I saw a picture in a magazine, and it was an interesting picture. It had a picture of a bridge, and underneath the bridge, it had a paycheck holding up the bridge. And it said, what happens if that paycheck disappears and the bridge collapses with all the expenses on top of that bridge, food, clothing, shelter, necessities alike? And it said these things could happen. Number one, their savings can disappear. Number two, their retirement funds can disappear. And number three, their home can disappear with the mortgage. So I talk need all the time. What's the longest vacation you've ever taken? 2 weeks? Why 2 weeks? I have a job. I have to need the income. I can't be out. If you were out of work for 3, 4, or 5 years, would you have a problem? Yes, I would. Is your earned income important to you? Yes, it's very important. If you had a money machine that was producing $100,000 a year, would you insure it? Certainly. And I look at that. Now, why do all the advisors run around trying to sell physicians and doctors of dentistry? The reason is they know they need it. If a surgeon loses 3 fingers, they're out of work. If I lose 3 fingers, I'm still working. They understand it. So you don't have to uncover the need with them. You don't have to cover the need with the dentist, the attorney. It's a little easier, but quite frankly, if they get into an accident or illness and they have a short-term memory, they have a major problem. They're out of work. So these are the things we think about, and we go through them constantly, and we think about the need for the product, and that's important. Business owners, they work 60 to 70 hours a week. They don't take vacation. They are constantly working and constantly under pressure. And they know if they're disabled, they have a major problem. Executives with group coverage, they know that the group isn't going to do a job for them. So this is what we work at. We work at it very, very hard. And we make sure that the brokers understand all of the different the objections. No confidence objection, not a big deal, because if you know your product, they're gonna have confidence in you. No hurry objection, not a big deal. Once someone wants something, they buy it. And the no money objection, I've been saying the same thing for many, many years. After I finish a presentation, which I still give, I say to them very simply, look, if we were to take $500 a month from your checking account every month, would that create a financial problem? If they say no, not a problem. If they say yes, I tell them, I don't want you to buy this policy. I didn't come here to create a financial problem. I came here to solve one. Let's cut this thing down. Let's cut it down to something that you can afford and that you'll be very happy with, and we'll visit it next year. If I can't get an individual to understand that they need the product, and then I would look at the Mutual of Omaha Return of Premium product, which basically is great for an individual who doesn't believe they're going to be disabled. I offer it where it's approved, and we explain all the qualifications of that particular product that's available with Mutual of Omaha. And that's how we handle it. Okay.
Very good. Thank you, Eugene. Appreciate all that. So, Jeff, what will it take for producers to have success with DI in their practice? What are the things that Truluma has available to help a producer? Eugene described 3 different types, but what do you have as a position to help producers who you're encouraging to have that income protection sale?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem advisors have is that they don't talk about it. So once you get over that hurdle, the rest of it becomes pretty easy. And I think Corey and Eugene both touched on that. In fact, before getting into the wholesaling side of the business, I was on the retail side for 10 years as a personal producer selling life insurance, disability insurance, did a fair amount of investment work. In the first 2 years, I didn't sell any disability insurance. Was working with young professionals. And one day I realized that, gee, if something happens to one of these individuals, it doesn't matter how much money we've set up aside in their IRA, their 401k, how much money we've saved for their college funding for the kids, for the vacation home, all their dreams and hopes are going to be shattered because they're going to blow through that money and everything else they have if they can't get up in the morning and go to work. So I started asking the question about income protection. It was simply, what type of income protection plan do you have in place? And then you get blank stares, but conversations would just kind of roll out of that. And what I found is that I started selling an awful lot of disability insurance. And looking back, it saved a lot of people financially from complete ruin. There's been strokes, there's been heart attacks, a handful of folks that have had brain tumors, and then maybe you run into your accidents, people falling on ice and breaking their back, shattering wrists. Bad stuff happens to good people. And this is, one of the tools that we have in our kit to help protect them. And in my opinion, it's probably the most valuable tool that we have. So with that, in talking with advisors, you don't need to be an expert. Clients really want to know 4 things. How much do I get? When do I get it? How long is it going to last? And how much is it going to cost me? And I think if you can answer those 4 questions, you can sell a lot of disability insurance. And the more you do, the more you learn. You'll team up with an MGA that specializes in the DI area, like ourselves, like Eugene, who can teach you the ins and outs of products. But again, the best way to learn this business is by getting out there and sticking your toe in the water. And then there's these advisors also that they kind of get it, but they just don't want to go there with it. So in those situations, we've encouraged folks to form a strategic relationship with somebody that will do the heavy lifting for you, kind of in the broker type of model. I know Corey does a lot of work with advisors in that type of capacity. Our office has a team of individuals dedicated to helping advisors that aren't interested in selling it themselves, but understand that their clients have the need and want to protect their income.
Very good. And I do think those are all important points before I go to Corey here to wrap up the questions that I have. But it's one of those things where we don't want the producers and those organizations, the MGAs, the producers, to overcomplicate this process. It's interesting that in the world of sales, where individuals, producers are accustomed to talking themselves to death or talking themselves out of a sale, that this is the one area they tend to get most cautious in. And just to realize that there are plenty of resources out there, and that's what we want this panel to be able to do. And Corey, in looking at it from Mutual of Omaha's perspective, we are entering into this traditional disability insurance space. We're out to preserve and protect our blue-gray space, of which we have been known for. Jeff made reference to other carriers coming into it. Corey, give us your your thoughts about Mutual of Omaha entering into this space, carriers entering into this space, and what might 2021 look like for you?
So we haven't really had a carrier come into the individual disability market space in a real competitive form in many years. And when I heard a carrier was coming out recently, I thought, oh, great, it's going to be like Shifting Sands of Texas. So nobody wants to write them because of the carrier label. And you look at Mutual of Omaha when they came out with this new product where they basically said, we are completely changing how we do business. We're getting caught up with the year 2019, 2020, now 2021. And we're going to do everything electronic. And oh, by the way, we've been writing disability insurance for over 100 years. How awesome is that? Is we have a carrier that's well recognized in the industry, name recognition, phenomenal ratings, financially, the whole deal. And oh, by the way, they came out with a phenomenal product. What I think is neat about this new product and just the industry looking at it is it's completely unbundled. And what I mean by that is you can completely customize the policy, as Eugene was talking about, with return of premium. You got a couple of options there. You can load it up with a specialty definition if you need it. You got many forms of residual. You've got all these options on a disability policy, which is neat because you can hit any price point too. So back to what Eugene was talking about, and the person who said they couldn't do $500 a month and it would financially devastate their checking account, but maybe they can do $300. We can still design a phenomenal benefit for $300 a month. And oh, by the way, we actually didn't even reduce the monthly benefit. How neat is that? So there's many different ways. And I'm looking at 2021 saying, I love it. I love this industry. I think we've got a lot of opportunity. Clients are used to doing phone calls or Zoom calls or whatever, not having to meet face to face. They're replying during the day. How neat is that? Like, think of how many times you had to chase a client and you couldn't get them to reply to you between 8 and 4 p.m. And now it's like, oh, everybody's working from home. So, oh, what do you know? I'll take this quick call from my advisor or whatever it may be. So the other thing I want to comment too on is what Eugene mentioned about no confidence. That's what my whole practice has been built on, was on advisors with no confidence. The one that says the client said it was too expensive and that's all they could say. Because I used to work on the sales desk at a brokerage office and I got so frustrated with advisors saying I couldn't sell it, it was too expensive. Well, you didn't sell them on value and the need. And then after that is if $300 or $500 a month was too much premium, let's change it. Let's find something that fits you, but still protects you and your family should something happen and you become sick or hurt. So for me, I'm excited about 2021, seeing that we have a strong carrier with a new product out there that's very competitive, unbelievably competitive. Actually, frankly, Michael, I've had some interesting words with you over the last 6 months, actually 12 months, and I've been floored by the new product. So I love it. It's been exciting to represent, especially when all I do day in and day out is individual disability insurance.
Very good. So, gentlemen, I do want to just say thank you again for participating on the disability insurance panel for NAILBA. We are looking forward to many years of participation from a DI perspective, and NAILBA is making that an emphasis with different sessions that are out there. If you do have any questions after viewing our discussion here, you are welcome to join us at the Mutual of Omaha virtual booth. I will be there available at different times over the next few weeks, few months. And if you do have questions, and if I'm not there and available, one of my associates will be happy to ping me, and I would be able to join on and answer any questions that you might have. And with that being said, Eugene, Jeff, Corey, I do want to say thank you very much. We're looking forward to a very prosperous 2021 and success in the world of sales and disability income protection. And with that, we'll look forward to talking to other individuals very soon. Thank you.